Hello everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me for today's video. So today I am trying out a brand new glue. I haven't got this before. This is the Creative Craft Products Book Binding Glue and I'm going to be comparing this today with my absolute favourite, which is Cosmic Shimmer. If you've been following me for a while, you know this is my absolute favourite glue. So today I'm going to be putting it through its paces and we're going to start off with the price and the size. So in this one here you get 82 milliliters, and in the Cosmic Shimmer you get 125 millimeters. So as you can tell, it's definitely a lot smaller, but this one here is $4.99 at Craft Stash and this one here is $9.99 at Craft Stash. So if I was to buy two of these, it would come to the same price as this one here, but that doesn't double the product. You would end up with 164 milliliters of this one and you'd still only have the 125 of this one. So that is the size and the price comparison, and I've got some projects here that I'm now going to be popping together just to see how well it performs, how quickly it dries, especially during a 3D project. And I also have some mini album stuff here that I'm going to be putting together as well. Right, so let's start off with a book. Basically we're going to be putting together a spine, and I'm going to be using, just for quick ease, the small album die set. I'm going to use the binding that you get in there. This makes a lovely little album, and the full tutorials for all of these will be on my channel as well. So we start off with this center one here. So cut one of the large ones and you have three of the smaller ones. I'm just going to glue this center one first in at the middle. Pop that in at the center. Once that's straight, I'm just going to press that down. There we go. On to the next one. This one goes right in the middle of this end flap and the center one we've just put in, but again making sure it's all straight. I can't help but describe what I'm doing on this because this is what I say every single time I make this, but these are really important points. But I know this is just a bookbinding glue experiment, so I don't really need to tell you what I'm doing, but I just do. So that one is in. I have a little bit that's oozed out there on the end, and I did notice this one did move, but I think that would have been the same for the Cosmic Shimmer as well. So I've used Cosmic Shimmer for years and years, so I know this glue inside out, so I kind of know how it behaves. So I'm happy with how things are going at the moment. And after I've just popped this one, I'm going to compare the nibs as well. So let's get this last one in, making sure that's straight. Got to have it straight, or otherwise you're going to have wonky pages. Now if you are interested in knowing how to pop this complete, I'm not doing the complete album today, but if you want to know how to pop this complete small album together, you will find a tutorial on my channel, and if I remember I will put a link down below on how to put this together. So wiggle room wise, I do have plenty of wiggle room and time to get this straight. As you can see there, I spent a bit of extra time there just making sure that was straight. So this was let's go back to the first one now, this one here. How well is that doing? That's, yep, these first two that I have done have gone down nicely. And first impressions, this takes slightly longer. I'd say you have an extra 30 seconds or so wiggle room, which I like, especially for things like this. Okay, might be a little bit different for 3D projects where you're having to hold things in place while it sets, otherwise it will just boink apart. But my magic trick for that is adding some red tape. Here we are, red tape. Use your red tape with your 3D projects if you have that sort of risk, and then pop your glue over the top. That's how I get around that one. So all in all, I'm happy with that. Everything's now glued down quite nicely. I can see it's still drying here. You might be able to see some of the white stuff there. So let's go over now to the nibs. So this one here, the Cosmic Shimmer, has a little nib there that you trim off yourself. It comes sealed, you trim it off, so you can choose what size gap that you want, and then it has this thing here that pops on, which I find pretty annoying sometimes when I'm trying to glue something. This does sort of get in the way, and I'm always tucking it and turning it around to get the right angle so it doesn't kind of dip into whatever that I'm doing. But I know that it does have a nice tight finish once it's on there. Some people like to have those nice little glue nibs or needles that go in there with like lovely beads and things, so you could have that. And for this one, just I'm in a habit now of always doing this. I always do this, just wipe it clear like this. Time will tell. This has a screw-on lid. It's pretty dark. I think it does have a little nub inside there that kind of covers and goes into that little hole there, so when you screw that closed, it goes in and keeps that sealed. And another thing you can do is keep your glue upside down as well. That really helps as well for preventing it clogging up when you're not using it. So time will tell for me on how well this nib performs in drying out. Okay, swatch tests. I have done a little swatch test here. It's the top one here is Sear, so that's Cosmic Shimmer for this one, and then at the bottom I'll pop these here so you can kind of see top and bottom. One here is also the CCP, which is Creative Craft Products, at the bottom. So I've got two large globs here that have taken a while to dry. They both kind of dried at the same rate when I popped them on there, and then I have these two little blobs that I just smooshed. I made sure my finger was clean each time, so there was no cross contamination there. However, if I do this, you can kind of see when they both shimmer at the same time, there we go, that the CCP is slightly more shiny. So this one here is slightly more shiny than the Cosmic Shimmer when I get those at the same time. I know there's a lot more on the bottom one, a lot more glue came out of that one. So that's not going to bother me a whole heap, but if that bothers you, then I would stick with the Cosmic Shimmer. But really that is a minuscule amount of difference there. Okay, so moving on, we're going to stick with the book binding and book making. I have here some envelopes I'm going to be gluing it together. This is going to be an upcoming mini album project, so make sure you stay tuned for a brand new envelope mini album coming up. So I'm currently just making my samples for this one. So I'm only really going to be testing out this one today because I've done years and years and years of testing and loving on the Cosmic Shimmer. So this is really just about the new glue today. So I need to add my glue on this envelope here up to that line. And I explain everything in a tutorial for this one. So this gets glued just directly on the top there. I'll line it all up. There we go. And I'll just do one more, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry whilst we work on our next little project, which is going to be a 3D one. Now I can already tell that a lot more glue is coming out. I guess because on this one I have trimmed it quite close to the top there, so the hole is smaller. So if you have a little decanter bottle that you can pop them into, if you prefer a finer nib, you can just use one of these bottles instead, and you can just tip it in there. I believe this might pop out, otherwise you might just have to squeeze it out of this little hole into that bottle. It doesn't have a screw top lid, as in this one here. I can't remove this whole section, whereas I can on this one if I wanted to decant this into a smaller bottle. So for this one I would see if I could remove this top section. This might be removable at the top there, or I'd have to squeeze it manually, but it's quite a small bottle. It'd be going into anyway, so it's not going to take ages. Right, so I've just chatted for a couple of minutes. That is still wet, it hasn't dried, so I'm still good to go. Might be a different story in the summer, in like 29-degree heat. Okay, so I've got 3 of my envelopes glued together now, and now I'm going to set those aside and test those in a bit. Right, now moving on to a 3D project. We have, what are we making? We are making, I'm just dropping stuff on the floor, the Noodle Box die set. This one's going to be for, that fell out, this one's going to be for Halloween, and I've used the digital Happy Haunting papers, which I'm so excited about, that are now available. So I've die cut 2, and you get the shaped mats for this as well. So let's glue these together. I'm just going to add glue to everywhere that needs to be glued. I'm not going to keep coming backwards and forwards on this one. And then the other tab is on this one here. Okay, so this just slides together. There we go. Let's move everything into place. And then I am actually going to give this a little bit of time to dry as well. I do that with the Cosmic Shimmer as well, just wiping away any excess glue that may have oozed out. I probably should be putting this into a smaller bottle. A lot of glue comes out there, especially when I'm dealing with little tabs this size. A bit too much glue comes out. I mean, it's not a biggie, it's just me being incredibly finicky about things. So if you wanted to try and squeeze a little bit less, to see if you can get a little bit less coming out, you can do. But I will probably end up having this squeezed into one of these bottles and then using both of them, because there will be projects where you need a little bit more glue to come out than you need to. Right, so I'm going to leave that there over here to dry, and let's go back to this project here. This is an old habit, always put your lid on. Right, so how has this come together? Okay, so we have a little bit of glue here. You can kind of see that come through. So I'm not sure actually if the Cosmic Shimmer will do that. So let's do one more little test. As you can see, I have a much smaller hole snipped into this particular bottle. Okay, that should be the kind of like the same pattern that I did on the others. Let's pop that on. It could just be the type of craft paper that I have chosen for this one. It could be just a property of that sort of paper, that any glue will give you that look or that effect. Right, press that down. Pop that aside. Lid on. Back to this one. Okay, so I folded everything, so these will go outwards. And you get these little dies here that I've taped to the inside. These create the closure, so you do one on each side. So these little side panels here tuck into this little slot there. Okay, so 2 circles. Use your nesting circles for this. It's perfect for making layered mats. Add the boo on top of that, so let's pop that there. There we go, and then we'll pop the boo along there. Perfect. Right, I'm going to actually use another foam pad for this. And there we go, a little Halloween project, and I'm really happy with how this glue has performed with this. Definitely. I will continue to use this, and time will tell how that has got on. Now just one more last little test. Things are falling over. Uh oh, you got a sneak peek of 2024 there. Oopsie. You'll have to replay that if you wanted another sneak peek. Anyways, this is what we've just glued. Aha! It hasn't seeped through like it has on here, but I think that because more glue came out on this one, it's just taking that little bit longer to dry. Yeah, it's just taking that little bit longer to dry because I put a lot on there. A lot more comes out of this one than this one, depending, because the hole's smaller. So that's what I think it is. I think once that has dried, it will be okay, like on this one here for the Cosmic Shimmer. It's fine, and it's drying off quite nicely there too. So I think that will also be drying. Yeah, that will be drying quite nicely, and it will go invisible again after that's dry. It's just that more glue comes out, takes that a little bit longer. So overall, my final review for this is I like this. I'm going to continue to use this. Will I stop buying Cosmic Shimmer? No, I'm going to keep this in my stash because I love this one. It's always been my favourite and I will always have this on my desk. However, I'm happy to give this a longer try, and I'm going to be decanting it into a smaller bottle as well, and I'll be using this in my videos for the next month or two, just giving this a proper run. I'm not going to stop buying this one because I love it, but I'm definitely going to do this one because it is almost over half price. I think if you work out mil for mil, this is a lot cheaper. So I would if you're sitting on the fence on this one, I would definitely give this one a go. So did I do the pricing? I think I did. Okay, so that is my glue review. Final opinion, I really quite like this one, and I'm going to give this a really good run in my craft room for the next couple of months and see how we get on with it. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'll link as much as I can down below because I always get questions on what's this, what's that, where do you buy this, where do you get that. So everything that I've used today will be listed down below, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you again later.